Hello everyone, this is Nikki Schoonover. I'm the training coordinator at Every Child's Hope, and today we're going to be talking about emergency preparations and response. We'll be talking about mostly campus and just in general how to respond to an emergency, but we'll also be talking about if you are in a position where you go out into the community. So our objective for today is simply to keep yourself and others safe during emergencies. So we're going to go through Every Child's Hope commitment to safety, what to do in the event of a fire, tornado, lightning, and severe weather, earthquakes, medical emergencies, if there's a dangerous individual on the property, and use of agency vehicles. So just a reminder that Every Child's Hope is committed to safety. We have a risk prevention and emergency response plan. We also have a safety equipment and supplies. We do staff training like this one. We do inspections and drills. We also have safety coordinators. So these are the safety coordinators. Hopefully you can find your particular place where you work and you can see who the safety coordinator is at that location. They are in charge of all things related to safety. So if there is a fire, what you should do is to locate the nearest fire alarm pull box and activate the alarm. Some facilities don't have pull boxes, so then we would notify everyone to evacuate. Make sure that everyone's exited the building. Call 911 and report the fire. If possible, contact other staff to request assistance, but always call 911 first. If the fire is isolated and you feel like you can handle it, you can locate the nearest fire extinguisher and attempt to put the fire out. If this is not possible or you don't feel safe enough doing that, attempt to close the doors and the windows on the way out as you exit the building, and then follow, the same procedures of making sure everyone gets out and calling 911. Once you're away from the fire and outside the building, do a head count to make sure you have everyone and keep everyone together but away from the building. When the fire department arrives, provide information about the location of the fire, unaccounted for occupants and injuries. We'll talk about this a little bit when we talk about an ambulance, but anytime there is an emergency personnel coming to our campus can be a little bit confusing for people. So you should have someone who is available to go and kind of wave the person down. Hopefully, if there's a fire, you're all outside, and so they'll kind of know where to go, but be looking for the fire department. Follow all directions provided by the fire department and do not re-enter the building until authorized to do so by the fire department. So fire extinguishers, they are located in each building. They can be managed to extinguish small isolated fires that can be managed without risk or injury. This is only if you feel comfortable, only if it seems small enough the fire seems small enough to do that. If you're going to do that, notify everyone in the building, have them evacuate, and call the fire department before, just in case that it doesn't go like you're planning. The fire department can be on their way. Extinguishers that we have in our buildings are ABC types, meaning they can be used on any type of fire. And as always, if you don't feel comfortable doing that, you can always just call 911 first. So if you do need to use a fire extinguisher, you want to make sure that you pull and remove the pin located on the handle. Position yourself 5 to 10 feet from the fire. Squeeze the trigger while pointing the hose at the base of the fire and use a sweeping motion. And be careful. So let's move on to tornadoes, lightning, and severe weather. You have to know the terms used to describe severe weather threats. And this one is a challenging one for people. What's the difference between a watch and a warning? So a watch, a severe thunderstorm watch, or a tornado watch means that we're watching for conditions to develop. So it's a severe thunderstorm is possible in the area, a person should go indoors. Now, a severe thunderstorm warning means that a storm has been sighted in the area. We're warning you that it's on its way. So everyone should go indoors and evacuate to safe areas. Same thing with tornado watch and tornado warning. Tornadoes or severe thunderstorms are possible. Everyone should go indoors, but a tornado warning is more serious. It means that a tornado has been sighted and people should immediately evacuate to safe areas. In the event of threatening weather, the way we handle this at ECH is that the senior on-site supervisor listens for local sirens and radio reports. If a tornado warning is issued for the surrounding area, the senior on-site supervisor orders all persons to evacuate to safe areas. At the discretion of the senior supervisor, persons may be ordered indoors to safe areas during any other severe weather conditions. So if you have to evacuate to a safe area, say during a tornado warning, you want to go to the basement of the building you're in. If there is no basement, go to the interior part of the building to the lowest level or to a nearby building with a basement. At the Early Childhood Center, you're going to go to the hallway at the where the cubbies are. At the Lindbergh building, you go to the records room. At the treatment and QA building where I work, we go to the treatment center. At the school gym, you go into the school. We don't want to be in the gym in the school. We need to stay clear of windows, doors, outside walls, and open areas. Get in a crouched position and cover your head and stay there until the danger has passed. If you're caught outside during a tornado, get out of a vehicle, go to a nearby building, or lay flat in the nearest ditch with your hands covering your head. I know this seems like really counterintuitive to get out of your car, but the reality of tornadoes is that they tend to go over things that are raised or pick things up that are raised objects. So that's why being in a car is really good. If an area is a low-lying area or like a ditch, they tend to pass over those. Which is my little explanation. It's probably not the most scientific explanation. So that's why it is safe to get out of your car. And then, of course, you want to stay there until the danger has passed. In the event of lightning or severe weather, you want to get inside. Avoid using the telephone except for emergencies. More talking about a landline phone. Shut down computers. Avoid bathtubs, water faucets, and sinks. Metal pipes may conduct electricity. Once the danger has passed, the senior supervisor will lift orders to evacuate to safe areas or to stay indoors. The senior supervisor will notify all buildings to return to normal activities. The senior supervisor assesses injuries and property damage and implements additional emergency measures or notifications as needed. If there is an earthquake, we want to keep calm and stay where you are. Most injuries during earthquakes occur when people are attempting to enter or exit buildings. If you are indoors, take cover under a desk, table, or bench, against an inside wall or a solid heavy frame doorway. Hold on. Stay away from glass, windows, outside doors or walls, and anything that could fall and hurt you, like light fixtures or furniture. If you're outdoors, move away from building, street lights, and utility wires. If you are in a vehicle, stop as quickly as safety permits, but avoid stopping on bridges, overpasses, near tall buildings, trees, or utility wires, and you want to stay in your vehicle. After earthquakes, make sure you use caution. Aftershocks may occur. Avoid using utilities and smoking until the safety of all systems has been established. It's because there can be a gas leak. Following the earthquake, the senior supervisor, in conjunction with the available maintenance staff, oversees preliminary structural inspections of each building, including water, gas, and sewer lines. As required, utilities will be shut off. Buildings that appear unsound are not entered. As needed to ensure safety and comfort, the senior supervisor will relocate staff and clients to other buildings. All right, so now we're going to talk about medical emergencies. If there's a medical emergency, you want to immediately call 911 and request emergency medical assistance in response to a serious or life-threatening illness or injury that agency personnel are not equipped to. Things where you may call 911 is if there's an insect bite or sting causing difficulty breathing. That can mean someone is having allergic reactions, a severe allergic reaction, life-threatening allergic reaction, severe bleeding, serious burns, choking if the Heimlich maneuver is unsuccessful, drowning, unresponsiveness due to drug overdose or poisoning, heart attack, shocks, fractures or dislocations, unconsciousness for any reason, or difficulty breathing. Notify this in your on-site supervisor or nurse, get assistance to manage the situation, and to direct emergency personnel to location of the victim. This is where we're talking about, especially in this type of situation, there may not be much indication as to where the emergency is happening, so you probably want to assign someone to go and wave down the ambulance. Clear the area of children and other bystanders. Administer first aid, comfort and reassure the victim, and stay with the victim. Follow instructions of the emergency personnel when they arrive. All right, let's move on to talk about if there's a dangerous individual. So at the main campus, if there's a dangerous individual, for residential treatment and day treatment clients who are a danger to themselves or others, you can call the receptionist or the crisis team for therapeutic assistance if you need it. For non-clients who are a danger to themselves or to others, or who are carrying weapons or who may be under the influence, someone shows up on campus, call 911. After you call 911, then call the receptionist or the crisis team so that staff can be notified and other buildings can be locked down. Do not pull the fire alarm. This will cause staff to leave the safety of buildings and potentially place themselves in harm's way. At the Lindbergh Building, if a visitor presents an unmanageable or threatening, notify receptionist or ECH administrative assistants and supervisor. ECH administrative assistants communicate the threat level to staff. ECH administrative assistants or receptionist contacts 911. ECH administrative assistants and supervisors account for staff. All staff await directions prior to resuming normal operations. So this is a video that talks about what to do in the event of an active shooter. What I'm going to have you do is to go ahead and pause the PowerPoint at this time, click on this link, and watch the video. It's going to talk about run, hide, and fight, which is what to do if there's an active shooter on campus. This is a video by the Department of Homeland Security that does a really good job explaining that. So go ahead, pause the PowerPoint, click on the video, watch it, and after you've watched the video, come back to the PowerPoint. So just a reminder, you saw this in the video, but just like to remind you, when law enforcement arrives, if there is an active shooter, you want to make sure you remain calm and follow the officer's instructions. Put down any items in your hands. Immediately raise your hands and spread your fingers. Keep hands visible at all times. Avoid making quick movements toward the officers, such as holding on to them for safety. I want to remember that these officers, like it said in the video, are looking for the active shooter, and so we don't want to be confused as that. Avoid pointing, screaming, and or yelling. Do not stop to ask the officers for help or direction while evacuating. Just proceed in the direction from which the officers are entering the area. Also remember they're not help with treating any victims. That will come later when other first responders show up. So let's talk about community safety. So if you are in a position that requires you to go out into the community, some things that you want to think about. Making sure that you have your cell phone with you, that it's charged, that it's available if you are to get into a situation that makes you uncomfortable or unsafe. If you're doing home visits, when you're entering a client home, you want to think about how you're entering that home. You want to be assessing the situation and the agitation levels of those involved, and know the family history. Is there some violence that's been in the past? Is there domestic violence that's happened in the past? those are some things you might want to think about. You also may want to think about letting someone know where you're going, or having someone call to check in on you within a certain amount of minutes if you're a little concerned, or not going by yourself. You also may want to decide not to go if you know that things are more heated, or when you walk in, you may want to do what you can to get out of there as quickly as possible. Even if saying something like, oh, it looks like my supervisor is calling me, something just came up, I'm going to have to reschedule. Those are kind of some of the things that you may need to do. Workers who go out into family homes and out into the community are very much at a risk for something to happen. It's happened, unfortunately, more times than it should, where a worker is hurt or killed by someone they're going out to visit in the community. So it's really important to take steps to make sure you're safe. When you're transporting clients, you want to make sure that you have enough people to do that you know the history of the client's behavior, that you're considering what are the things that may make this unsafe, and be prepared for things that might happen. Also, social media. This is a good idea to not put things on your social media about where you're going to be, or where you've been, or what you're doing that day, because if someone gets a hold of that, they could potentially be following you. So it's important to keep that information private. Also, kind of mentioned this before, but using those verbal de-escalation skills if things start to get heated, how can you calm things down enough for you to get out of there? And keep the situation as calm as possible so that you can stay safe. Let's talk a little bit about the use of agency vehicles. So all vehicles must be signed out when taking and signed in when returning. The book for signing vehicles in and out is located at the front desk. Do not take vehicles that have been reserved by others for specific periods. Your coworkers get really mad about this. I think the book is probably in a different place at the Lindbergh office. I would imagine it's at the front desk, or should ask your supervisor if you work at the Lindbergh office where the book is for the cars. Make sure to return the keys to the front desk or wherever they go. When signing the vehicle back in, the next driver needs the keys. There's no food, drink, or smoking allowed in any vehicle. Staff drivers are responsible for cleaning up messes left in the vehicle. Everyone needs to do their part to ensure they remain in good order. It's just never a good feeling when you get into a car that someone else has left a mess. Nobody likes that. Gas cards for Phillips are with the keys. If you return a vehicle to the campus that seems to be having a problem, make sure you notify the front desk so the problem can be addressed. The front desk will take the vehicle out of service and notify maintenance about the problem. This is important. You want to make sure that you're doing this so that someone doesn't get stuck with a car that may have an issue and break down on them. And also, same thing with gas. You really want to make sure that you're not leaving it like completely on empty. If you experience a problem or an accident with an agency vehicle, follow the vehicle accident or vehicle breakdown protocols located in the vehicle. Let's talk about what to do if your vehicle breaks down. If at all possible, pull the vehicle completely off the road, preferably in an adjacent or low traffic area. Exercise caution as passengers exit the vehicle. Keep children together a safe distance from the road. Notify the senior on-site supervisor of the breakdown. As needed, request assistance in managing kids and getting alternate transportation or obtaining an emergency road service or a tow. If you're in an accident, ensure the safety of the vehicle passengers. Seek immediate medical attention for injuries. Exercise caution as passengers exit the vehicle. Keep children together a safe distance from the road. Notify the senior on-site supervisor of the accident. As needed, request assistance in managing children or getting alternate transportation. You also want to complete the auto accident information form located in the glove compartment. Make sure the following is documented: a police officer's name and report number, names and addresses of all involved in the accident, including witnesses, names, addresses, and phone numbers of all insurance companies, license numbers of all vehicles involved, driver's license number of all drivers involved, exact location of the accident. Notify the business office within 24 hours of the accident and forward the auto accident information form and any additional information about the accident to the business office. And that is the end of our presentation today. Thanks for attending and helping keeping yourself and others safe and the kids that we work with safe. Hopefully it wasn't too painful and you learned a little something, and hopefully this will help you keep yourself and others safe in the future. Thanks.